Joseph Pizza, welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chisha Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
I cheated on my husband, woman says, in the back of a car in front of my house. Now, I know you heard that and you said to yourself, say what? One more time, please. Gladly. Cheated on my husband in the back of a car in front of my house. Guys, the coffee is strong this morning or today. Or tonight. Doesn't matter what time you're watching this. I assure you, you're not ready for this story. No more wasting time. Let's get it.
And I cheated on my husband of 8 years in the back of a parked car less than a block away from my house last night. I don't know what came over me, but I was out drinking with
the devil. Yes.
My girlfriends, and I got a little too tipsy and accepted a ride home from a guy I met at the bar. He had been flirting with me all night, and I guess I had reciprocated a little more than I realized. So he offered me a ride home, and I accepted. He drove me home, but I had him stop about a block away from my house because I didn't want him to know where I lived. After he parked, he leaned over to kiss me. Within 2 minutes, I was in his back seat with my pants off. 2 to 3 minutes tops, no condom, no pullout, and I'm not on the pill. But apparently a dumb Jesus.
At least she's honest.
Christ. So I get out of his car, stumble toward my house, and when I walk in, my husband is standing by the bathroom door. I thought I was busted, but our 4-year-old had gotten up in the middle of the night and needed to use the bathroom. She isn't totally potty trained yet, so she wakes us up to assist when this happens. My husband simply said, "Hey babe, how was your night?" I don't remember what I said back, but I remember him whispering as I walked by, "Since you got to have a good time tonight, can I have one too? Really quick before you go to sleep."
No.
I should have said no.
No.
But instead, I let him have sex with me right after I had sex with this.
I can't do this. I can't do this. Hey guys, you're going to have to watch this video somewhere else because this shit's insane. Let's keep watching.
Stranger. Good God, what is wrong with me? Is it possible that my husband saw what was going on? You can literally see down the street where we were parked if you were standing where my husband was standing when I walked in the house. He couldn't have seen what was going on inside of the car, but he definitely could have seen me getting out of the car, especially one that he did not recognize for that matter. I have never done anything like this before. I am flirtatious, but I have
Yo! Guys, I did not anticipate that. Me and my dude just did the same look. We just did the same look. Put it on the screen. This man drinks coffee. Come on.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
never crossed any physical lines since getting married. I feel awful. I don't know what to do. Should I confess? Should I deny no matter what? How likely is it that my husband saw what was going on and is just testing me? What can I do to find out if he knows anything? What can I ask him? It's driving me crazy. I'm a nervous wreck. Can I say that I was too drunk to consent? I don't mean that I would press charges on the guy or anything. I don't even know who he was. And I was definitely drunk, but I knew what I was doing when I consented. Would I have done it sober? Absolutely not. But it was as much my decision as it was his. But still, could I possibly use that as an excuse? I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate for this, but hopefully I'll get some advice too. You need to first find a good therapist, talk to your therapist about what's going on, and then you need to tell your husband with the therapist present. Number one, this is already eating away at you. You already mentioned that you're a nervous wreck, and your husband may find out through your odd behavior anyway. The other reason why you need to confess to your husband with the therapist present is that you're already contemplating more poor decisions. By saying that you're too drunk to consent, even though you're saying that you wouldn't press charges, that could potentially ruin someone else's life. And while we're on the subject of consent, you raw dogging a guy, then sleeping with your husband, you're taking away his informed consent. You could end up pregnant, you could end up with an STD or an STI, and if that's the case, you could have passed it to your husband that night. So you would much rather him find out with the two of you in a therapist's office rather than the two of you in a doctor's office. The other reason why I'm telling you to do this in a therapist's office is that you need to have a much deeper understanding of how and why this happened. Because this is some risky behavior. And if you want to prevent this from happening again, then you need to understand what's going on below the surface. It could be unhealed trauma from your past. It could be something more significant like borderline personality disorder.
Or you could just be a 3 or 4. How about you just belong to the streets? Drink the coffee.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
I love how people are like, oh, you know, deep-rooted issues. Some women just belong to the streets. Some women just love cheating. Yes, there are women out there like this.
Or bipolar. Now, that's nothing to be ashamed of, because with treatment you would be able to resolve these issues. But if you stay in denial and act like this didn't happen, then the chances are is that it's going to happen again.
All right, so guys, listen. That was terrible. Right? The story just kept on getting worse and worse. And of course, I'm curious to know, what do you guys think of this whole situation? Here's something I've never shared before: how to not get cheated on. I mean, this is probably a secret that a lot of people don't talk about. But did you guys notice how she started off that whole thing when we all know it didn't just happen? You didn't tell him to park far away from your house because you didn't want to be in front of the house. You told him to park far away from the house because you were hoping that you would let the man bust your cheeks, and you knew you couldn't do that in front of your house, right? This all faking stuff makes me sick. I want to check out some of these comments, see what the people had to say in response to the woman who cheated outside of her house in a car and then went inside the house and slept with her husband. Unbelievable. Our first comment here says, it's always amazing to me that men let their wives out. I don't care. I would never let my wife out. Difficult to read, but we got you, man. Guys, this is why it's so important to make sure that this stuff is talked about before you run into situations, right? Before you run into the issues, because at that point, when you agree on it, then it's a breach of an understanding of what the two of you value within that relationship. And I say that to say it rids you of this whole like, oh, you can't make her do it. Yes, you can't make any woman do anything, and you shouldn't. No human being should make somebody, unless if they're a child, do something. But you can agree on how you expect the other person to conduct themselves and what you expect for a future partner. And that's why it's important to nip those conversations, talk about as much as possible in the beginning of the relationship. Very important. You can't overstress the important touching on different situations like going out, partying, traveling, what's expected with as far as like cooking, cleaning, how you guys are going to resolve arguments or disagreements. All that needs to be talked about. Here's another comment that says she will never tell him and she will do it again. Wow. What do you guys think of that, Coffee?
I love everything about coffee. It is one of my favorite things in life.
One of my favorite things in life. Do you think she would never tell him? I think she probably will never tell him. Another comment here says, Abdul, please go get the rocks. Another comment here says, nope, the girls want a girls' night. She can be single. Here we have a guy who's, I think, being sarcastic. Another comment says, nah, the problem is you have no business getting drunk out with your friends without your partner, let alone getting a ride with a stranger. Here's my opinion on this topic of women going out. I think when it comes to going out, what I definitely don't understand is why women would go to a place where there's only alcohol and music and no meals. I'm not talking about bullshit like wings and you know, finger foods. I'm talking about this place is mainly there to get people drunk and play music. There's just no point in that because people are going to dance and you're impairing your judgment with that alcohol and you leave room for mistakes. Now, like restaurants and things like that, it's different, or a place where they actually serve real food is different. Here's another comment that says, get tested, this woman says. Let go and let God. Another comment here says, plot twist, undercover spouse set it up where a random man tries and succeeds at sleeping with an unknown spouse. No, that's just your fantasy. Another comment here says, high value woman. That's hilarious. With the laughing emoji. Another person here says, she won't tell him with the shoulder shrug. Somebody else here added, I've never done this before. That's what all the garden tools say. That is true. Starting off with like, I never do this. No. But why are you so good at it? Can you answer that? Here's another comment from another man that says, it's a cold world. And finally, last comment reads, that's why you don't get drunk at a bar or club, or you just avoid bars and clubs because you already know why men who are there, and they're there to get some cheeks. Of course, guys, I'm curious. What do you think? Leave your comments down below. I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pot. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.